Yo, what's going on? We gotta get the likes of share, repost, try and get people here. No frictions first. That's a feat. Hey,
Hey,
what's going on?
how are you?
I'm doing alright. Yeah.
You don't believe in God?
No.
Why?
I think it's unlikely God exists.
Then how we exist?
What do you mean?
If God doesn't exist, how can we will we exist?
How can we exist? Well, it's just
Yeah.
possible we exist without a God.
How? How is possible? Can you give some concrete evidence or logical explanation?
Yeah, it's just not contradictory. It's just logically consistent. I exist and God doesn't.
So you exist, like how you can exist without God? That was my question. How can you be exist without creator?
I don't know what that's asking.
I'm asking you, how can you say there is no God?
I just gave the explanation. I just said they're logically consistent.
I don't get it. What you mean logically consistent?
It's logically consistent. A bachelor has blue hair, so we know it's possible a bachelor has blue hair. What's not possible is that a bachelor is married, because a bachelor is defined in terms of being unmarried. So it's logically inconsistent to have a married bachelor. So we can rule that type of thing out. What we can't logically rule out is the existence of a bachelor with blue hair. That's possible.
So what is this stupid argument you are putting to prove there is no God?
I'm just asking you if you have an argument or evidence God
You
exists.
don't have
Thanks
an
for the heart, by the
argument,
way,
right?
big point. I do have an argument. I'm asking if you have.
You don't have argument. How can you ask me if I have?
I don't know why you would say I don't have an argument.
So I'm asking you a simple question. How can we exist without a creator? And you are giving some stupid
I answered that 3
logical
times.
answers. It doesn't make sense. Do it make sense in your
Okay,
brain?
but yeah,
What is
this
that?
is something. This is something even theist philosophers admit of. People who believe in God who are informed
Philosophers
about.
are like stupid people.
I'm not sure why you would say that, but that's fine. I don't really want to hear the pejoratives. Do you have an argument or evidence God exists? Thanks for
You
the heart wrencher.
okay? You don't have any argument. God doesn't exist.
I do.
You're saying someone said something, but you don't have your own logical brain to explain something.
I don't know what you're saying. I do have an argument. I mean, I even have a video that's 11 minutes long on my page going through the argument. I actually have more than one argument for atheism, but I'm, me not having an argument doesn't turn on whether
How
you
we
have an
exist,
argument. I'm just asking you if
how
you have an
we
argument.
human exist. That's what the
Okay, you've
question
already
is.
asked this before, and I answered several times, and you're not satisfied. Just what is your argument God exists? What are the reasons you could provide
Okay,
supporting
that's
God's
my argument.
existence?
Like God exists because we exist. That's my
Okay, so how
argument.
do we get from we? Okay, so how do we get from we exist to God exists?
Because who can create us? Like if there is no God.
Okay, that's a question. I'm asking you,
Yeah,
like,
that's what the answer stays in the question itself. If you
okay, I'm
think about
sorry,
your
you're too
question,
incompetent. Yep. No, you're beyond. You're way beyond this life. Wow. Some people are exceptionally dumb. That's crazy. Okay, you didn't connect. Y'all gotta get the likes of share, repost, try and get more people up here. Yikes. It was not even. I should have dropped them, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. The charity wasn't. Sometimes people act like that, and you just have to overload them with charity, and they become productive after some like prolonged time of them. They get tired of their own behavior and realize like they can actually talk, but I don't know if that guy. Yeah,
Yo,
yeah, what's up?
I'm chilling, bro. How are you?
I'm alright. What do you
Good.
got?
I hope you're having a blessed day. Um, you say what is the best evidence for God?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna start broad. And then I'm assuming you're going to have a lot of answers for a lot of the things I say. So I'm going to start broad and I'm going to progressively get less broad. Is that all right?
Okay.
All right. First thing, evidence of there being a God. This conversation that is happening right now, the fact that you're alive, the fact that you woke up yesterday, and the fact that, God willing, you're going to wake up tomorrow. That's point one, that there is a God. Because if the universe isn't created, then this conversation, your existence, cannot happen, right? How was the
Okay, well, let's
universe?
stop here and go over that because there's that everything you're saying is loaded with issues. So the first thing is you're saying certain things are evidence for God, and you said like my existence, right?
Yeah.
Now, how's my existence evidence for God?
How would you have come into existence without a superior being creating you?
That's not an answer to what I'm asking. It's fine if
How
you
is
have your
your
own
evidence
questions, but you don't just
for God?
avoid the
Well,
questions I'm asking.
how is your
I'm asking
existence
you
evidence
how's
of there being God?
right. How's my existence evidence of God? Right.
Because if there was not a higher being, you would not have been able to have been created, because there would be nothing.
Okay. Well, that's a different claim from evidence. Right. Evidence is cashed out in terms of expectation. Seems like you're saying that the alternative is impossible, which is different to say that you have evidence for that. But that's a really robust claim. You're really saying that it's impossible that I exist if God doesn't? I don't see how
Not
you
just
establish
you.
that.
But when I say you, it's just because I'm talking to you, right? I mean everything around you. The desk that you're
Right,
sat
right,
on, the
right.
house
True.
that you're sat in,
And
the sun that you're
right.
looking at.
Sure, I get it. I get it. I'm asking you how you establish that claim.
Okay. So I'll use science as well, because atheists like to use science. One of Newton's laws is energy cannot be created or destroyed, correct?
Okay.
All right. Everything in the world runs on energy. If energy cannot be created, there would have been no energy to start with for you to exist, yes? Because there's nothing. In the beginning, there was no energy, there was nothing, right? Are you understanding what I'm saying?
No, I'm not understanding what you're saying.
Right. Let me try it from a different angle then.
You
I'll
understand
answer.
it's not claiming that energy can't be created simpliciter. That's a philosophical claim. Just as in a closed system, energy can't be created or destroyed.
And what does that insinuate? Are you aware of what a closed system is? We're going back to the complete thing. I'm an engineering student, so this is literally like my day job. Is I learn about this
Maybe
shit.
Pensive wants to talk, but I don't understand what's your point. So I'm not really getting
Okay.
it. The reason I think God exists is because if energy is not created, then what?
That's that we're going off on a tangent. The reason
Yeah,
you are
I'm
here
trying to
having this
understand.
conversation
Well,
is because you have
come
a
on, slow
creator,
it.
yeah?
Okay, wait. Come on, please stop.
Mhm.
I'm not understanding. So your view, I'm not understanding how we're getting to God. Energy
Mhm.
can't be created, and how do you get a God?
Okay. So in the beginning, because
In the
God
beginning
isn't
of
a
what?
being. Sorry, God
In the
isn't a
beginning of
being
what?
bound by the concept of this reality.
Okay, I'm not asking that. Just in the beginning of what?
In the beginning, in the beginning of existence, no matter how, if
Why
you
would
go
I think?
infinite amount of
Why
time
would I
back,
think?
there is always.
You gotta stop.
Hmm?
When I start interjecting, you stop talking so you can listen. Why would I think there's a beginning to existence?
Are you being serious?
I'm being
I would.
serious.
Okay, so if you infinitely rewind time, what do you think's
Mhm.
eventually going to happen? You're going to get to the beginning,
It's not
right?
an answer.
Well, it is, because
What's the argument? There's a beginning to.
for you to be here in this moment in
I'm
time,
asking you, what's the argument? There's a beginning to time.
I'm explaining the argument. For you to be here in this moment in time, there are obviously steps that need to happen, right? Your parents need to have you, grandparents, we go back and back and back. You become this, the universe forms. And the further back you go, eventually you start with God. That's the beginning. And even if you go further back than the beginning,
Right.
there is
I'm asking you for reasons. I'm just asking you for reasons to think there's a beginning. You still haven't given me reasons to think there's a beginning.
I'm sorry, I don't think you understand the question you're asking. How can there be a
I'm
beginning to
asking you
time?
for reasons to think, yep, that there's a beginning to time.
Sorry, so how do you explain the past? Would you not say that is the
Don't
beginning of
ask me a
time?
don't ask me a question. I'm asking you what's the reason to think there's a beginning to time.
Because it's common sense.
Well,
Well,
that's
some
not true. It's actually divided in cosmogony whether there's a beginning. There's many cosmologists who are infinitist about the past. So it's not even obvious to philosophers of physics and cosmology. It's actually a disputed topic. In fact, infinitism's on the uprise. So it's becoming more popular, the view there is no first moment in time. But whether or not you think it's obvious is not an argument, right? That's just fallacious, right? So I'm just trying to understand, what's the argument establishing the proposition there's a first moment in time? Saying it's obvious is not an argument.
I'm not saying there's a first moment in time. I'm saying there is a period of time which we will consider the beginning, right? Because this is before stuff started happening in the universe.
So you're not claiming there's a beginning of time. So whatever you're arguing with is consistent with there being infinite moments of time into the past.
There's a time flow, correct? You agree with this? So there's a time flow from the past to the present, right? And then, of course,
Can you just answer what I'm asking you?
They say, well,
You're really
asking
evasive. So your argument's consistent with there being. So your argument's consistent with there being past infinite events.
Do you remember the point I made to start this conversation?
That's not an answer.
You're talking about
Can you
things
answer
I
that
never.
question? Okay.
Repeat the question one more time.
Okay, this is the third time I'm repeating it, and you're not answering. Right?
Yeah.
Instead of just not answering, and then you forget the question right after because you choose to not answer, just focus on fucking answering it, please. I'm asking you: is your argument consistent with the position there's infinite moments into the past?
Yes, there are.
Okay, then I'm not understanding your argument. You said that there's a first existence, right?
It might be difficult to get your head around.
I'm not sure what that means.
But it's all right. I mean, there are other points.
I doubt you're literate in philosophy or religion, so I don't see why you would use that rhetoric.
Are you?
Yeah, I am.
What has that achievement got you in your life? What has that qualification got you?
You're talking about that I'm like dumb, but I know better about this topic than you.
I never.
You're just not in a position to say that. You said it might be hard for you to understand if you're not that intelligent.
So if you don't understand something, are you an idiot?
Look, this is getting nowhere. You're not providing an argument. Now it's just turning into meta. What is the argument supposed to be? Yeah, look, let's give the argument in terms of premises. What's premise one?
Premise one. A God exists because everything around you exists. That's one. There's three.
Okay, that's not. So premise one is if things exist, then God exists.
Yes.
Okay, let's just stop there. What's the argument for that?
Because nothing can come into existence without first being created. And if you go further and further back through creation,
hold on.
You have to stop at God, yes?
Hold on. No. So the conclusion now is the proposition, if things exist, then God exists. What's the premise supporting that?
The holy text, the Bible, the fact that science can't explain it. It has to be something otherworldly, such as an omni-being that can control.
Whoa. Premise one is what?
Whoa.
There we go with the rhetoric again. What's premise one?
Premise one. Because things exist, that proves the existence of a higher being that once you date the things back, created. What are you talking about?
That's the conclusion.
Okay, so that's what I'm explaining. That's why I'm saying if you take things back, I'm not just going to say everything is order. That's what I'm saying. If
you gotta stop talking. I'm asking you for premise one of the argument.
Are you fried, bro?
What's premise one of the argument? All this guy could do is rhetoric. He's just a rhetorician. He can't actually engage. It's very cute, the jabs. Right, more jabs. Can you just engage, please? I'm trying to have a productive conversation. Clearly you're not. But I'm doing my best to, by my own charity, keep you up here and trying to have a conversation.
Charity?
So what's premise one?
You seem to just be going in circles, buddy. I hope you have a rest of your day, man.
Have a nice one. Hopefully you learn something and come back capable of having the conversation. Maybe dial down the rhetoric. Try and actually have conversation. That was terrible. I'm the one not having the conversation. What do you mean? Hey, what's going on?
Hi, can you hear
You
me?
there? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. What do you got?
So do you believe in abstract existence?
No. I don't know you're asking me anything. I'm just asking what's your argument or evidence God exists. Don't worry about what I believe.
No, I'm trying to build my argument.
That's not. People who say that just don't know what an argument is. Arguments aren't. It's either you have an argument or you don't. If you have an argument, arguments don't contain interrogatives. You don't ask me anything. If you require to ask me about my views, then that just means you don't have an argument because you don't know my views, right? And I'm not going to give you my views, right? I already made the one mistake of telling you I'm not a Platonist. No, I don't think abstract objects exist. But just if you have reasons to believe in God, just communicate your reasons. Don't ask me anything. Okay, that was all right. Well, we got 80 people here, something like that, roughly 90. Let's keep interacting. We're not even at 2,000 likes. Can we get to 5,000 likes? Double tap that screen, share, repost, try and get more people up. God, what is with these guests today? Thanks for the cowboy hat, big boy. My tolerance is maxed out today. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, I don't really have like the best argument, but I just
Your mic's really hard to hear.
okay. Yes, I don't have the best argument, but I have a couple of questions. So, for my first thing is, have you ever heard of you've obviously heard of like after death experiences, all right?
Mm-hmm.
You've heard of after death experiences, all right? So, are you familiar with people that have been dead, clinically proven dead, and explain things that happened while they were dead? Like, for example, they're in the hospital room, they're clinically dead, and
Yep.
they see like a pen drop out of the doctor's like pocket, and they have said that this
Mm-hmm.
happened when they were dead. They were clinically proved dead. They couldn't see, they couldn't hear because they were dead.
Yeah, I
So
already said yeah.
so if there is not a God, then you could argue
It's over
then
with you.
there is not a soul, and we are just beings, and when we die,
No, no,
we
that's wrong.
exist.
You're lagging
So you
out,
think
and
that we
no,
have a
that's wrong.
soul, but we don't.
No, I don't
What's
know
wrong?
how this is hard for you. I never said anything about I believe in a soul. You said if atheism is true, then we don't have souls. That's wrong. In fact, the view that souls exist on atheism is fairly popular. Atheism is just the thesis that God doesn't exist.
So how would we have a soul?
Not that
if it's
souls don't exist.
more?
Because a particular entity not existing doesn't rule out the existence of souls. It might be the case God has a soul, but that doesn't mean what the claim is that souls don't exist. Just in the same way, if I deny John has a car, and John's car is purportedly a Ford, I'm now like not able to make claims that like Ford cars exist. I'm only denying a particular type of car owned by a particular person. What I'm not saying is that there couldn't be Fords. In the same way, if I'm denying a specific entity that's understood to be a spirit doesn't exist, I'm not denying the existence of soul simpliciter. Again, the view that souls exist is fairly popular. There's views like this in philosophy of mind and others by atheists.
How is that?
Yeah, but I'm not understanding. So people give reports. I never claimed that was scientifically proven. I'm just saying.
No, that has that. Like people giving reports after.
Right. People give reports of near. Okay, right. People have near-death experiences. They report those experiences. How do we get to God?
Also, there's been a bunch of reports of people actually going to heaven and seeing.
Okay, so how do we get to God?
We can't. Well, in order for there to be a soul, I would say that there would have to be a God, because I don't know how would a soul
And what's
be
the
even
argument for
silent.
that?
Because how is there even a possibility of there being a soul or life after death if
It's
or
just a
someone
question.
having
Obviously, it's
consciousness?
just logically consistent. Come on, they're obviously logically consistent.
What do you mean?
They're just logically consistent. God doesn't exist and their souls.
Like,
It's just like no contradiction.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I have another thing. Are you familiar with the Elliot argument? Or no?
Yeah, that troll argument.
Yeah. What do you think about the Elliot argument? You don't think it's good? What
It's
are
a
the
troll
controversies?
argument.
It's a troll?
It's like yeah, it's an argument like a schizo on this app runs. It's not an argument in like philosophy, religion, literature. It's not like a serious argument.
Well, kind of just like this.
How so? What?
It's kind of just.
I mean, you can run the argument. We could talk about it. Right?
All right. I don't know if I remember all the questions, but I'm pretty sure the first question is something like.
Okay, well, arguments, that's already a problem because arguments don't have questions. An argument's a collection of propositions that takes an inferential structure. So if it's a question, it's not an argument. But if you have questions, that wouldn't be a justification for theism, or justification atheism is false. But I can see if I can answer your questions. I don't know if you actually have, because the argument you're referring to is not a series of questions. Even how it's ran by the idiot who runs it. It's not.
It's the Elliot argument is.
No, he explicitly. No, it's actually laid out as an inference, It's not a collection of questions. That's a dialogue tree, not an argument. Questions forms like a Socratic. Yeah, a Socratic dialogue is not an argument. He actually runs it as an argument. It is a collection of premises. But if you just want to ask me questions, again, what follows from that is that you're not justified. But we can see, you could just test how I answer them. That's fine. But if you had an actual argument, that's more so what I'm interested in. Okay, so you don't have an argument. You just have a series of questions. What are the questions?
All right, the first question, if I remember, it's, does every effect require a cause?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, every effect requires a cause.
That's analytically true.
Yeah, so what?
You have to stay on the app. We can't hear you.
Yeah, I know. The next question is, can something create itself before it even existed?
No, things cannot create themselves.
All right, and then can matter or energy be created out of absolutely nothing?
I don't even understand what that's asking.
Can matter or energy be created out of absolutely nothing?
I mean, come on, you just repeated the thing I said I don't understand. It's like if I say a sentence in Chinese or Mandarin, you don't know what it means, and you just repeat the Mandarin sentence. I don't understand it. Repeating it isn't explicating what you're saying.
Can you? Okay.
Do you mean something like can matter appear without a cause? Like there's a point where matter doesn't exist, and then matter appears, and then matter exists without a cause. Yeah, that's okay. Yes, that's possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Is it possible for an infinite number of concrete things to exist?
Yes.
Give me one example.
Example? What do you mean example?
I think that's a confusion.
That's a confusion. Your question was about possibility. You understand examples.
I didn't say possible infinite. I said concrete.
Can means possible.
I said, is it create an infinite number of concrete things to exist? And you said yes.
You keep cutting out. So yeah, you asked, can there be?
Okay, so how so?
All right, because there's no contradiction if we're speaking from a logical modality.
Exactly.
or logical
So
possibility.
basically, so nothing can be infinite and complete at the same time. That's what that's saying, because that's physically impossible. I can break that down for
I
you
don't
if
know
you
what that
want to.
means.
Like, okay, so yeah, for example, an infinite number of concrete things means it must be infinite and complete at the same time. If I asked you to jump rope 5 times, how long would that take?
I don't know, 5
If I asked you
seconds.
to jump rope 5 seconds. If I asked you to jump rope 10 times, how long would that take?
10 seconds.
All right, how long would it take for you to jump rope? An infinite amount of time.
Presumably infinite
Exactly.
time.
Okay, so you would never
Okay.
finish it. So that's basically what it's saying is nothing can be infinite and complete at the same time. So there's
That
nothing
doesn't follow.
means that.
You never established that, but I'm not understanding. The point is that it is logically possible. There's an infinite series of concrete things. Your internet's
Sorry,
really
my
bad.
internet's looking really bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
All right, so it's possible there's an infinite series of concrete things.
All right, and then another the next question is, what is atheism?
The proposition that God doesn't exist.
All right, so therefore you're saying that atheists are only left with two logical options. All right, either God exists or God does not exist. All right, give me another option.
That you can have the view God exists and doesn't.
Okay, so there's only two options.
You just said give me another option. I just gave you another option, so it would be more than two.
So atheists are left with two options: God
And
exists.
also, well, actually, there's more because you could think it's neither true. God exists or doesn't exist.
What? What is the third option?
Yeah, if you're
existing and not existing,
like
half existing.
I already gave you a third option. The third option is a contradiction that exists and doesn't exist. God exists and doesn't exist. I'm saying a fourth option, which is if you deny bivalence and you have alternative truth values, what you can do is you could deny the proposition. You could deny both propositions: God exists and doesn't exist. Right? We're just talking about the broad philosophical landscape. So the options are pretty vast.
Can you?
If we're speaking from,
you're saying that God can exist and God cannot exist. What is the in between to that? What is the other option? Him half existing? Like that sounds really illogical. I don't know what you're saying.
Well, I'm not entirely familiar with the alternative truth values logicians or philosophers endorse, but
because
it's just possible there's other truth values.
That's the problem is there's not another answer because you can't just simply say, oh, I don't believe he exists or doesn't exist.
That's just not true.
That makes no sense.
That's just not true.
That's epistemology, and we're not asking that.
Epistemology. Okay, you got to listen a little bit more because you're not listening to what I'm saying. You just keep talking, not listening. Saying that here's two alternatives: a view that denies that the only two truth values is T and F. Then there's a third option. Another one is that you can have two propositions be mutually. You can have two truth values, right? Like contradictions, for example. You can have a proposition be T and F. So those are two ways out of that. Now, what we could do is we could just assume, for the sake of argument, like, something like bivalence and single truth value assignment or something like a classical logic. Yeah, sure. It's a true dichotomy that God exists or doesn't exist.
Yeah. Okay. So,
but technically, atheists or there's more options than that.
All right, and then the last question is there a fourth option besides the universe creating itself, it always being here, or the God option? And we can play this little game where you want to...
Yeah, the not God option.
Give me one example of any logical answer of either this universe creating itself, it always being here, or the God option. That's like...
Right, the not God option.
The not God option.
Yep.
Okay, so what else? That doesn't fit logically to...
You're saying
The only three possible
You're
answers
saying,
of the universe
are you
being,
gonna listen or what?
yeah, sure.
You just keep talking. Jesus fucking Christ. Yep, you said three options. You said the universe created itself, the universe is not created, or God created it. The other option would be the universe is created and not by God. That proposition is
So,
also
okay, so you just
in
said
the
the
space.
universe is created but not by God. Okay, so that fits into one of the three I just fucking said. By the universe was created. Yeah, it literally does. You said the universe was created but not by God. So that just fits into one of the three I just stated. Yes, it does.
Okay, I understand you want to keep just saying you're right. Can I explain why you're not right?
Explain why I'm not right, because you just said the universe created itself. That's
The
cool.
three options. No, I didn't say the universe created itself. I said the three options you gave was that God created it, the universe is uncreated, or the universe created itself.
Yes.
What I'm talking about is that the universe did not create itself, nor is it created by God,
Okay, so then what is
but is created.
but is created? So the universe did not create itself, is created or is not created by God, but is created. I'm sorry, but what created it?
Is created.
You just said a divine power created it. What is the definition of God? I'm not talking about some Christian God. I'm trying to
Divine power? I never said anything about
So
divine
what
power.
is physically, logically possible to create this universe if it did not create itself, or if it was not created by God? That is so illogical to say.
It's just non-theistic.
Non-theistic. So you're just saying, oh, I don't know what created this universe.
I'm not forwarding a theory about what. I'm just talking about the options.
Okay.
There are theorists who think that the universe has a cause and it's not by God, right? I mean, there's multiverse theories and other working theories about that it have causal explanations for the universe, but you're confusing the epistemic abilities for me to conceptualize working theories and the logical landscape, right? I don't need to think of alternatives to just know that they're not exhaustive.
All right.
Right?
Well,
obviously, you could just do a logical analysis and be aware it's not exhaustive.
Well,
I don't even need to provide you a working theory. Like, for example, if I find some fact on, like, there's a shoe on the floor, right? I don't need to have an, and my friend says, oh, it's a unicorn, and I can recognize, okay, it's either a unicorn or not a unicorn. Imagine that person's conceptually impoverished. They don't need to give other examples other than a unicorn. They don't need to give you working or potential explanations other than unicorns to know that the possibility space is exhausted by unicorns or not unicorns.
All right, I kind of understand what you're saying, but one thing that I have to say is that it is literally.
But what's the point with this? So
okay, yeah,
these options, there's four options.
I'm getting it's three. There's three options. I'm getting to it, but that is actually
there's
proven.
4 options.
There's 3, and it's proven. It is physically impossible for you to give another option, because what you were saying is I don't know.
I already gave you an option.
You said the universe was created,
I already gave you.
But I don't know what it was created from. So therefore, that is an I don't know. No, you got to listen. There's a difference between type and token. I'm not giving you a particular type of a non-theistic explanation. I'm saying the token explanation. Just explanations that are non-theistic. That occupies the space. What you're asking for is something beyond that. Like, imagine we have all the known cars, right? All models of cars known, exhausted. Oh, wait.
Someone says that exhaust.
Yeah, wait, can I say something real quick? I think I actually misworded the
I'd rather you not.
I misworded.
Imagine someone named every model of car, and someone says, well, there's other models of cars.
I know,
right?
I misworded.
And he says, oh, no, name another, when someone named all the known models of cars. There's not going to be a label you can provide, and you might not even be able to think of a new configuration, but it's just possible you have a new configuration that models a new car.
Yeah, okay, so I misworded the 3. The 3 is it was created by God, or it was always here. So that is the 3, and there's nothing outside of that. I misspoke by saying it was created by nothing. So
what?
Okay, so the 3 only
always
the 3 options
always here.
No,
By always here, you just mean created by nothing. Because saying was always here is actually ambiguous to whether it has a cause altogether.
okay, so
Right? Because if
okay,
always
so what
is
you're
used
saying is we can leave
temporally,
that out.
no, I'm not even saying that. You gotta like just it's what's hard with you is you're just like too much talking, too little listening and understanding. You really got to try and listen, right? What I'm saying is that to say that the universe always existed doesn't tell you anything about the cause of the universe, right? If you endorse atemporal causes, which you would have to presumably to say the universe even has a cause, it's consistent with the universe having infinite moments of time. What, right? But what you're saying is even what all you're saying is that the universe always existed. Always is a temporal concept. Trivially, the universe always existed, even if it has a cause. That's a trivial truth, right? What you would have to be saying is that the cause is ontologically prior, not temporally, right? So saying it always existed doesn't tell you it has a cause or not. That's neutral to whether the universe has a cause. Now,
I
and
didn't say
further
the
than that, it's
cause of the
consistent that the
universe.
universe has.
I said those are the only three reasons that we exist. The only three reasons that this universe is here. It was always here and always.
We're
It
talking.
was created, or it was created by a divine power. Those are the only three options for this
Right.
universe being.
I'm saying,
You cannot give me another.
look, the options are the universe is created and is created by God, is created and is not created by God, is not created, and those are the three options.
All right, and you want me to go back to the other things you just told me? You told me that matter and energy cannot be created from nothing. That is physically impossible.
No, I
And
told you the opposite. This is what I'm talking about. You're not
give me
listening. It's
one
really
example how
difficult.
something can be created from nothing.
Examples and can are different things. You don't give examples for what can happen.
I want you to
right?
look around
Can
your
is,
room right now and find anything that can be created.
And he interrupts me again. Do you understand the difference between the actual world and a possible world?
That yes, it's pretty.
Okay, so you understand can is not designating the actual world.
Okay, well, give me an example of something that was created.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, and you understand when you ask for examples, you're talking about the actual world?
Yes.
Okay, that question's thereby unfair.
How so?
Because you're not asking a question about the actual world, you just admit it. You said when you say can, you mean possible worlds. Possible worlds has a broader scope than the actual world, trivially. Doesn't designate the actual world. And then you're asking for an instance in the actual world. The claim isn't for an instance in the actual world.
Simply just
it's an instance. It's an instance. Why do you keep interrupting? Dude, you gotta. This is like beyond debate. You just have like the inability to conversate. Let people finish their points. It's just every time you just keep talking, you don't listen to anything I say, and you just keep interrupting. Yeah. So what I'm saying, because now I'm losing my own train of thought because of you constantly interrupting.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like you're getting pretty fucking stumped by a 15-year-old with 1 month of knowledge, but I mean, you're
I'm not getting stumped by you. And if you shouldn't have said you're 15. I mean, now I gotta drop you. We could have just. I mean, I would have been fine to keep it. I don't know. He started I heard him start laughing once I dropped him. It's just TikTok policy. That guy was pretty bad. The arrogance is so bad. Bro was losing so hard. That guy had no clue what he was saying. It was really bad. Dang, none of these people are connecting. No. What's going on, Rancho?
No, what's up?
Caller was literally slow. You heard that last guy?
Dude, that was painful.
Yeah, that was really bad. Hey, what's going on, son? What do you
What's
got?
up, bro?
You got evidence arguments God exist?
Alright, so cool. First, I don't want to use the word God because that's a human construct. But I do want to ask you, do you believe in a higher intelligence or a higher consciousness?
I could already tell no. I just have that like really sharp intuition.
Dude, I found these really good vegan chicken nuggets, and I'm like addicted to them now. They're like so easy to make as well.
Yeah, they were the ones you were choking on yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
What's going on, Evidence?
Yo, dude, I don't know how well you're gonna be able to hear me. I'm on a beach in Antigua right now, so.
Okay, you sound fine. I mean,
Oh, okay, good. I love that Wi-Fi, baby.
yeah. So what do you got?
Oh, I mean, I'm an atheist, but I say the best evidence that God exists. I mean, if anything, I would have to say that the possibility that consciousness might actually be an external field that we're able to tap into, which is somewhat supported by some research that's been done recently about why certain propofol. I don't know if you've heard about this, but propofol is an anesthetic that's given to people during surgery, and it literally shuts down your consciousness. Like you do not have you lose time. Like once it kicks in, you're gone, and then you come back. And they've done some research, and they found that it might be because it shuts down a particular protein structure in your brain that resonates at a specific frequency, which is crazy because, you know, these talk about blind squirrels finding nuts. Maybe these weirdo hippies who talk about like frequencies and resonation and all this stuff might actually have been talking about something right. But this is actual science that's been peer reviewed, and it's not completely debunked. The reason where we have consciousness might be because this protein structure is actually able to resonate with an energy field that exists, and consciousness might be something that is externally, and it might be the same source where animals get some of their collective knowledge. Newborn animals' ability to walk, and the things that they know, and things that they know how to do instinctively, right? I mean, that's where it might come from. And I'm not against that idea because I think it's pretty cool, and I think if there was any evidence for a higher power or some sort of design or structure to the universe, that would be part of it or some of it.
Yeah, I think that's all like gibberish, to be honest.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I think views like that are just gibberish.
Oh, okay. I think the concept of God itself is gibberish as well. So I was just trying to provide you let me up on the panel, so I was just trying to provide you with an example of something I think might be evidence.
Do you hold any
We don't got
Phil of
no,
Mind views?
not really. No,
Do you think that there's like an
I
epistemic
haven't.
gap,
Between what?
like physical and phenomenal states?
Um, to be honest, I'm not sure. I mean, I haven't read really anything on philosophy of mind.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like, I don't know. It just feels like either it's just like utterly pointless semantic dispute, or like it's just a scientific question.
Maybe. I mean, I do think physicalism is, at least some form, is just incredibly intuitive. I mean, even without the empirical facts about how neurological states are like in some robust way correlated with brain states. Um, I don't think like substance dualist views. I feel like those views are just nonsense. I don't know how popular they are, but
I mean,
I don't know why people buy into those types of things.
I think
They just bring in more issues.
in the literature, it's like kind of 50-50 between like if you count like property dualism as a kind of dualist view. But I think on TikTok, most people aren't physicalists.
I don't think property dualism is saying much different really than a physical like it's considered usually
A physicalist view.
um yeah, at least from what I heard, if I'm right, it's like they treat views that these unique properties are emergent from the physical, depending on how sui generis they are, or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. That
I
they're
don't know.
like they're just different properties.
Wait, is Peter a theist, by the way?
He used to say he's theist adjacent. But I
Okay.
think now says the opposite. I think he's still agnostic, but actually I don't know because he's kind of like Ethan Muse. He buys into all the paranormal stuff, and he thinks that the paranormal stuff is evidence for more theist adjacent positions, or at least that's what I heard him say before.
Yeah, I mean, I think if God exists, I don't think he's some perfect being. I think he's just like a really powerful guy.
I don't think being theism is even possible.
Have you heard Liam's counter to that? He like accepts causal closure and then he says like it would be causally efficacious, therefore it's impossible.
Against perfect being theism?
Against any sort of like disembodied mind sort of view.
No. Wait, what does he say?
He basically just says he says like believing in that sort of creator would be like you'd have to deny some sort of causal closure principle, and then causal closure is true, therefore God doesn't exist.
Mm, I mean, I guess so. Just depends what his argument for causal closure is.
Said you would have to like give up like some principle, and there's like a Morian argument from that.
Liam's a property dualist, though.
Well, he said like he doesn't really. Well, no, he has like that weird like perspectival dualism view that I just
Oh
didn't
yeah,
understand.
perspectival dualism.
Yeah, I did not understand that shit. But he says like Philip mind is mostly just a waste of time.
That might be right, to be honest. By the way, guys, keep double tapping. We are getting no interaction. We're not even at 5,000 likes. We got 80 people. Share, repost, get the likes up. Got to get to 10K likes next 10 minutes. We got 70 people. We could easily do that. Keep interaction. Keep up the interaction. Try and get. This guy's a troll, but I guess I'll bring him up. Unless he doesn't connect, which is for the better. And get the likes up on YouTube too. Come on, guys, get people up. Atheism is 100% a belief without evidence.
That's it. That's right.
No, that is right. People always fail to understand how maybe evidence is kind of a technical term and you can be justified in believing things without evidence.
You think you can be justified in believing something without reasons to believe? Well,
What's happening, man?
Not
Haven't heard from you in a
reasons.
while. What you been up to?
Like, like if your priors are already, like your starting priors in some
oh
view is
yeah, yeah.
already, yeah. And then you
Well,
get no evidence.
I mean, I would just count intuitions as evidence because I mean that view is obviously correct.
Yeah, humor's rubbing off on too much people. What's going on, Samu? What do you got?
What's going on, man? What you been up to, man?
Chilling. You got evidence though, or arguments?
Oh no, I've just got a question. Since you're an atheist, do you really believe that there is absolute 0% chance that there possibly is a necessary being to bring the universe into existence?
I don't think concrete beings could be necessary, so that would be impossible. Yeah, and usually the people who even purport claims like those utilize a modality that's opaque, right? They usually say metaphysical modality. I mean, it's just strictly
I
true that
apologize, but can we use more simpler language? Metaphysical, all this sort of stuff. I stopped, learning about these types of words. I started learning more about Islam. I'm focusing more on theology right now, rather than
okay, well, necessary talk is what's called um, modal talk, and modal talk is just talk about contingent, necessary, and possible and impossible. And the meaning of those words varies on the modality. And modalities are basically the constraints you have on possible worlds, right? You can think of it like that, right? And the people who say God's a necessary being, they use a modality where possible worlds are constrained to metaphysical modality, and I don't know what that means. And the people who use that concept or device fail to explain adequately what that concept is, right? Such that I don't think it's really intelligible to talk about there being a metaphysically necessary being. But if you're talking if you're talking about like logically necessary, God can't be logically necessary. And God believers largely never even make that claim.
Can you expand onto that? God cannot be a necessary logical being for the existence of the universe.
Right. Because logical necessity are
So please try
sentences that,
use simple language, so I can understand you a lot much more better.
yeah. So logical necessity is about what's called in logic tautologies. They're sentences that are, if you're not familiar with logic, I mean, it's not really going to be easy to explain that. You'd probably need to get the basic understandings of logic. But if you know what a truth table is, and a truth table defines validity, you can think about it as tautology is a sentence that's true in every row in the truth table, or it's just a valid sentence. It's a sentence that's true in all interpretations or models, right? And no existential statement like there exists X or X exists would be a tautology, right? In fact, those would just be, as an atomic sentence in like propositional logic, it would just be like P, right? If you express it with a propositional variable. So it's not even something so the existence of anything can't be logically necessary because existence claims are not tautologies. And that's like actually super trivial, right? Nothing can exist. The existence of something can never be logically necessary. But theists do not say that anyways. They do not say God's logically necessary. Or the proposition God exists is logically necessary. They don't say that. They instead say God is when they say God's a necessary being, they're talking about metaphysical necessity. But like said, it's not clear what that means.
Hmm. Well, I just feel like a lot of poppy being kicked around. Lots of big words used there again. Do you happen to know anywhere where I could go and study these stuff off? Like any homework I could do?
You could just read Stanford, like Stanford
Yeah.
Encyclopedia of Philosophy.
Encyclopedia.
I'm pretty sure
How do you spell
Leibniz
that?
has.
How do you spell encyclopedia?
Encyclopedia?
Yeah. E for eating.
ENCYLOPEDIA. What?
E for eating.
I don't know what you're saying.
You said I'm asking you how do you spell encyclopedia, and I'm asking like the first letter. Is it E for eating or?
Yeah, E.
E for, and
People already wrote it in the chat. You could just look at the chat. Is there anything else?
so I'm curious about what do you think is like the most logical explanation for the universe? Do you think that is infinite? I mean, do you think it is eternal? I mean, it never had a beginning, never had an end. Do you think that it did had a beginning? And
I don't have any opinion about that.
no, is it because we are not advanced enough to know?
Just that there isn't good reasons to think either way. At least that I know of.
The universe. Wait, hold on a sec. Is this how you spell it? I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, that's how you spell it.
That is definitely not how you spell it by the look on your face, but I'll look it up later then.
What was he? He screenshotted me. He said, "I could tell from the look on your face and screenshotted." Or was he?
Hello.
Oh, yeah. You gotta be. Yeah, no, we're not taking kids. There's an
Look,
11-year-old up here. Hey, what's going on?
all
What do you
right,
got?
so I got proof right here. How do you know that how do you know that a painting was painted by a painter?
Guys, I have background information that paintings are painted by painters.
So what you're saying is you can see a painting and you just believe that somebody painted it, right?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, what are you
I'm
saying?
saying that you have. Yeah, I'm saying you have inferential reasons to think when you come across a painting, it's painted by a person.
That's just common sense, right?
Sure. I mean, if by common sense you just mean we share pretty sufficient reasons to think that, then yeah.
Okay, so then you see a world that we live in and it's created by a God. It's common sense as well.
No, I don't have inferential reasons to think that.
Dang, all right, well, you can go ahead and drop me. That's all I had.
Really? That's all you had?
Yeah.
But the reasons you have to think that paintings are painted by people isn't the same reason I think a disembodied, immaterial, rational agent has the power and did cause the universe and configure the cause. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
They're
you don't
like
see my
entirely
point.
different. But the inductive, well, no, the inductive reason doesn't carry. I think you're trying to assume the inductive reasons for why we think paintings have painters carry, but they just don't. And it's not even very hard. You just really just got to think about it, and it's pretty
Well,
obvious we don't share those reasons.
well, I feel the same way about my
I have
paint.
background. Look, you and I have background observations that people have painted. That paintings were painted. You observe painters painting on canvases. You don't have background observations that spirits configure the cosmos. So you don't have those background reasons.
Well, like I was saying, I think my point is very simple as well. So I made it. You didn't agree, so
And also, we have strictly information about human agents, not non-human agents. Right?
yeah. Have a good day.
It's not agents generally. Okay, have a good day. We're getting the worst of the worst today. Wow. Honestly, this is like a terrible live. Like, why do I have to get tortured with these people? You know, I gotta change the background. Maybe I could put something in the background that kind of screams, if I'm an idiot, do not come up. So let's see what I have. Maybe this will be a deterrent if my hair could just stop blocking. Philosophical discussion. I doubt this is gonna work, but hopefully this deters people.
I'm something of a philosopher myself.
That's right. That's right. What's going on, Chris? Maybe you want to talk with Chris, or
Who, me?
yeah,
Hey,
what do you got, Chris?
what's going on, man? I'm not gonna be here long. I just got a quick question. How do you explain human dominion?
Let's say I have no explanation. No explanation.
Do you believe in human dominion? My bad, my kind of hoarse right now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I believe in human dominion. I don't got an explanation why. There is that.
So yeah. So I'm assuming you know what I mean when I say that about that the human species is our species out of all the millions of species is the one species with the most dominion over ourself and over the earth.
I get it.
So does that question ever like, do you have any theories about it? I'm just curious because I'm assuming
No,
you don't.
no, I have no explanation. No explanation. I already said that.
Okay, so in books like okay, so I'm a Christian. I just throw it out there. It don't really matter for this argument, but I believe in God. I'm a theist, and you're right. Nobody has an explanation for it except whether it's disagreed upon. We have an explanation for it.
No, I never agreed to that.
Hmm?
I never agreed no one who's not a theist has an explanation, but we can even assume that. But that was very assumptive of you. But yeah, we could just grant you no atheists have an explanation and theists have an explanation. Now what?
So are you talking about like what? That's why I was asking you because you're probably more familiar with that world than me. I just know about like the survival of the fittest and all these other theories that people have, but I don't really know what like solid
I'm
theory
asking you
people.
how we go from. Yeah, I'm saying how we go from that to God. Like what are we doing? How we tying it to God? So you have an explanation. I don't have an explanation. Atheists don't have an explanation. Okay, what's the conclusion?
Well, I mean, my conclusion it's one of the biggest because people talk about the Big Bang theory and how nothing can come from something and antimatter and all of that type of stuff. But I talk about I always ask people about human dominion because like that's one of the biggest evidences that we have a designer. You know what I'm saying? We have a designer that designed like the Bible say when he created the earth and the plants and the trees and the animals and he made man human in
How's
his
that evidence
image.
for a designer?
You say what?
How's that evidence for a designer?
Because look at what humans, the one species, unless you believe that we're so lucky that we're the one species that can take over any land, that can build things, that can argue about God, that can argue about politics. Like no other species can do this. Species do what they're designed to do, except us. We go outside of the basic function of our species. And that's because we have a designer imprint.
Okay, but that doesn't answer my question. Right. I'm asking you how do you get to a designer?
You hear like listen to what I'm saying. We have like first of all, I don't think you're like bypassing the fact that the human dominion thing, like to like think about
No,
human
I'm
dominion.
agreeing to human dominion. I'm asking you how you establish a designer. Or how that's even evidence for a designer.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let's say if you believe 100% there's no designer.
I'm just gonna move on. Dude, this is what happens when I have Rancho on this panel.
Scare away all the high tiers. Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's going on?
So I just want to ask, what do you define as evidence?
Something a proposition expects.
Do you think that like arguments can constitute evidence?
Yeah.
So
Just told you what it.
I'm assuming you believe that murder is bad, right?
right.
Murder is just unjust taking of life. Do you mean unaliving is bad?
Yeah. So can you tell me the evidence of
I don't
why
think
unaliving someone
I
is
don't think
bad?
it's
Like
well,
what is your
realize I
evidence
don't.
that it's bad?
Okay, well, first, yeah, there's going to need to be a meta ethics type of point before that, but realize I don't think taking of life is bad simpliciter. But the reasoning, and she just dipped. I don't know if he disconnected. I could bring him back up if he wants to re-request. I don't know why he just left. Or maybe he didn't left. I don't know.
Yeah,
Hey, what's going on?
not much. How about you? So
I'm all right. What do you got?
before we start, can we use the Bible as an evidence? Like
Can we use the Bible, anything in the Bible, as an evidence? Not as a spiritual book, like, but as a history, like evidence.
I don't know what that means. Evidence is just evidence. Things in the Bible may be evidence, they might not be. I'm not going to tell you what you can argue is evidence, but there's going to be a fact of the matter of whether something is evidence. So if you think something in the Bible is evidence, feel free to argue that. I don't really understand what your question is.
Okay, so if my evidence for God, I think I've been here before. I would say because the world will behave like it's behaving today, like the sun will not drop on the earth. Can
Okay. Why is that a reason to think God exists?
Because if God made the sun to stay in the heavens, in the sky, and not drop on the earth, then I could say the sun will not
Okay, I
fall.
agree with that. Okay, we can assume Christian theism makes it that God would design a world like that. But there's a more broader issue. If theism or design hypotheses, more generally, like the most general picture of a design hypothesis, if it doesn't expect that, and then what you're doing is you're making a more specific version that does expect that, you're not making the initial hypothesis. You're not showing to me theism is true. You're showing that this theism is more likely than its alternative forms of theism. I don't know if that makes sense.
No.
And I can explain why that is, but do you at least understand what I'm saying?
But what I'm saying is,
I'm not asking you what you're saying.
No, you said you want evidence.
I'm asking you if you understand. Right. So you gotta focus. Come on, please, just focus.
All right, go ahead.
I'm asking you if you understand.
Understand what?
Look, if you have a more general hypothesis, a more generic, imagine the most generic design hypothesis. It doesn't say anything beyond there's a designer. If you have a more specific design hypothesis, and the more generic design hypothesis doesn't expect the evidence, but the more specific one does, then you have not provided evidence for the design hypothesis, because all you're doing is making the more specific design hypothesis more likely than its alternative design hypotheses. I can explain why that is, but what I first need, you didn't understand any of that.
No.
Okay, maybe I can give you an example that makes it more clear.
Okay.
If I have imagine I'm either holding a pen or I'm not holding a pen. Imagine I'm just holding an object and you can't tell whether it's a pen or not. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And imagine I have a more specific hypothesis, like it's a red pen, right? And given it's a more specific hypothesis, obviously the red pen hypothesis is going to be less than just having a pen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I then get evidence for there is a red pen, and that being that the object I see, which I can't tell whether it's a pen or not, I see that it's red. Since that's evidence for the red pen hypothesis, but not for just there being a pen, right? If there was a pen, you don't expect it to be red, imagine. Then what happens is all you're doing is making the red pen hypothesis more likely than not red pens. But that doesn't give you reasons to think it's a pen.
But here is the thing. That's why I asked
but before you jump to anything, you have to understand the point. Don't just say, here we go.
Okay, let me
Are you understanding the point being made?
Let me phrase what you just said. What you said is,
okay,
if you have a pen, and I assume it's a red pen, and if it's not a red pen on the other hand, then it can be. I can't see it as a pen.
No, none of that was right. Maybe Rancho wants to try explaining it to him.
Oh yeah, sure. Let's say that in a bag there's a bunch of marbles, right?
Yeah.
And then in the bag there's also a bunch of toys. And let's say there's 10 marbles and 10 toys, right?
Okay.
So what's the chance that if I pull out a random thing, it's going to be a marble?
50-50.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Now let's say that I get some. Now let's say of the marbles, there are 5 red marbles and 5 blue marbles. There's
Okay.
5 red toys and 5 blue toys. What's the probability I reach into the bag and I pull out something that's red?
Um, I'm saying 25%.
No, just anything that's red, right?
Oh,
There's
50-50.
5 blue toys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
50.
50-50, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Now, what's the probability that I pull out a red marble?
25%.
Okay. So you see how a red marble is more specific than a marble. So the probability that you pull out a red marble can't be bigger than the probability of just pulling out a marble, right? You agree with that?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'd say so.
So,
Yeah.
okay. Then the next sort of case is, let's say you have some information, and that information is the next thing you pull out of the bag will be red. Does that increase the probability that the next thing that you pull out of the bag will be a marble?
Not necessarily.
Okay, that's all he's saying. He's saying, look, the information you gave increases the probability that, a certain type of God exists. But that doesn't increase the probability that God exists.
But that is why I asked him in the beginning if he can use the Bible as not a spiritual book, but as a history book.
Well, that has nothing to do with the point that he just made, though.
Yeah, but
Oh,
if
wait, so do you agree to the point that he just made?
yeah, I mean the point it clearly makes sense. It's no doubt
Okay,
about that.
well, then that's the only thing that was
But
needed.
that's not the only thing. Not when there was a record
Well,
saying God made the sun and put it in the air.
but the relevant point that establishes is that wouldn't be evidence for there being a God. And since you
What?
agree to that, I mean,
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree
that's the
that
point
your
being
point you
explained.
made makes sense. But it's
Okay, but the
also
point is
there's
that wouldn't be evidence for a God,
not
that a God
even
exists. That wouldn't be evidence
not
for that.
even when we use the Bible as a history book, then we cannot rely on any
No,
history.
doesn't change anything.
We cannot
You
rely
can
on
use the
any.
Bible as a history book. That doesn't have anything to do with what I'm saying.
All right. I also have another. Okay, this is a little complicated for me. Um, what about objective morality?
What about it?
Can that be shown as an evidence of God?
I don't see how, no. I mean, it could. I don't see how, no.
You can't. You know, because if there is an objective morality, one will assume there is someone who created objective morality, who made it
Right,
that
but
way.
if it's an assumption, it would just be, you would be
No,
unlicensed to say
not
that.
assumption. One will say
Okay, well,
somebody
if you have an
made.
inference supporting that, I would ask, what's the inference?
What you mean was what is inference?
The
Like
argument that
like
establishes
like
that if God
how do
existed,
you
there would be
feel?
objective morality,
How do you
or somehow,
feel? Do you believe the fittest of the survival of the fittest?
I don't know what that, I don't know.
I just asked a question. It's yes or no.
I don't know. Let's say I don't know.
That makes it because
I don't even know
what
why
you
you're asking about my beliefs. I'm asking you, look, what's the argument that if I don't understand it? How do you get from there is objective morality to God exists? Why would that be a reason I think God exists?
I
You
mean
say
what
because
what
someone would have to create it. Well, obviously, no. But maybe there's reasons to think someone would create it. I mean, I don't even know if that's even really coherent, to be honest. But if you have an argument establishing that, would be all ears.
my argument will make sense in a minute. But I just want to know if you believe in the survival of the fittest.
Maybe this will help. What do you mean by? Well, don't worry about what I believe. What do you mean by objective morality? Maybe this would help.
Like let's just say if I punch a kid and I took their money. Would that make you sad?
I'm asking you what objective morality means.
Objective morality is like pretty much there is a universal law of how we behave internally. Like if somebody do
Okay,
something
well,
bad,
I
how we
just want to
feel.
flag that's not how it's used in philosophy. In fact, there's like almost a fundamental issue because universalism is normative theory. It's not about metaethics, and objectivism is understood, or objective more realism is understood to be a type of metaethical position. So it seems there's normative entanglement, but it's fine if that's all you mean by that. If all you mean by objective morality is there's universal moral laws or something, or universal moral facts or something, okay, that's fine. So there's universal moral facts. How do you get to God exist?
Okay, so now what I'm saying is, if I took a kid's money and I punched them in the face, how do you feel?
I'm asking you how you get to God from objective morality.
I'm saying because God created objective morality, and if you feel any type of
Right,
way,
but there's no reason to accept that. I mean,
and that's
obviously,
why.
if God doesn't exist, he can't create, so there's not a reason provided. I think maybe you can work like an inference to the best explanation, right? But you haven't provided anything. I mean, it would straightforwardly be question begging to say God created the moral facts or moral laws. God can't, if God doesn't exist, if I haven't established God exists, then obviously no one's going to accept God is doing stuff in the actual world. That just assumes he exists. In the same way, if I don't believe Superman exists, and I say the reason I think Superman exists is because he saved me, obviously Superman can only save you if he exists, right? So that just
But
assumes the thing you
but you
don't
can't
accept,
just say Superman. You can't just say Superman saved you with no evidence.
right?
Yeah,
That's
but
but you're not even understanding the point. The point is that that assumes the conclusion. Superman only could save if he exists. So if I don't accept he exists, that statement is not a reason. In fact, that's just repeating the claim and saying more. Right? That's what you're doing when you say God creates the moral laws. Now, there's one inferential strategy you can do to reason this way legitimately. It's not quite exactly what you're doing, but it's adjacent. It's called IBE, or inference to the best explanation. It's when you have the explanation that God is the cause, and you can reason why that explanation beats its negation, right? Or at least is the best explanation. And if you can make that inference that the explanation God creates the moral laws is the best explanation, then you are warranted in saying God exists, right? But you would have to provide an argument for that.
like it's hard for anyone to talk to you about this because you don't make your beliefs known. You said I ask you a simple
This
question
isn't a
like
matter of my
what
beliefs. That's
what you
just a
think
mistake.
about. No,
When I ask you
what you
about
think.
your reasons to think something, not knowing my beliefs is perfectly fine. In fact, knowing my beliefs would actually be extraneous. When I'm talking about your reasons, there's no reason you start asking about my reasons. That
But
just
like
sidetracks what we're talking about. I'm asking
that
you
is
how you justify the proposition God exists. You already came in here thinking you're justified. You communicate your justification. You don't ask me anything. It's like, imagine your professor told you to write a paper on your justification for God exists, and then in
okay.
the paper you start asking what the professor believes as a paper. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you're
You're
right.
supposed to be writing your justification, and in the paper you're asking the professor what's his beliefs.
You're right.
Like,
You
imagine
make
how he would
sense.
grade that.
I gave you that. You
Yeah.
make sense. But like what I'm saying, objective morality, because God created those laws, we feel bad when people do other things that is
I
not
know, but
right to other people.
I'm right, but I want reasons to think God created those laws.
So we don't have to hurt anybody.
No, look, there's a difference between reason as in God's intention and reason as in thinking the proposition is true. If I said, I don't imagine that someone said John stole a cookie from the cookie jar, and I say, what's the reason I think that? right? And you say, oh, the reason is John wanted a cookie. That's not what I'm asking. I'm not asking what is the reason John stole from the cookie jar. The proposition John stole from the cookie jar, I want reasons to think that statement is true. I don't believe John stole from the cookie jar. I'm not asking you why John stole from the cookie jar. I'm asking why I think the proposition John stole from the cookie jar is true. Don't say because God wanted X, Y, Z. I'm asking you what's the reason to think God put the laws there. I don't believe God exists. And if the idea is that the best explanation for why there are these moral laws is God made them, I'm asking you to give an argument for that.
Okay. So in the Bible, I mean in the history, I don't. The Bible says, like, if you're going by history alone, if you're using the Bible as a history book, it says God made us in His image. So these things came in us. Objective morality came in us because of how God is.
Pause.
And if you feel bad about
I
somebody
understand what
hurting
that's right, but that's what the theology reports. What I want is reasons to think that explanation is the best. So it's not right now a matter of what the Bible says. It's a matter of argument that the best explanation for the fact is God.
God, okay. So you just refuting everything. The thing is, like, you don't, the only proof that God exists mostly came from the Bible. Okay? And the Bible, even if you take the spiritual side of the Bible out, and we can look at it from just historical point of view, it says God is good, and so He has no wrong in Him. So He made us just like His
Okay,
image.
but the Bible says that, but we're asking reasons to think God exists.
And I'm saying, because we are made in God's image, and His image is good, it doesn't allow us to do wrong. And if you do wrong, or other people do wrong to other people, we have a feeling of being hurt. Like, we feel sad.
Okay, I get that, but you still haven't given the reasons to think the God explanation's the best.
How? I just told you. If you look at the Bible as a historical book, it says God made us in His image, and His image,
I
God is a
understand
good.
that,
So
but that's not giving me the Bible's saying stuff about God. The Bible's not giving an argument God exists. You're not giving me an argument God exists. You're sketching out your idea of God in a way that makes sense of explaining the fact. Okay, I understand how if God is benevolent, you can explain how He makes those moral laws. I get that. I'm asking you for reasons to think that God exists.
God exists because you feel hurt, you feel sad if somebody do something wrong to another person, and that is why God exists, because we are all made in His image, and we have
Why would I
consciousness.
think God because of that? Yeah, but all of that assumes God exists already.
It's not
We've already been
assuming.
over
When
that.
you said it's assuming,
Can
but
God create me in His image if God doesn't exist? Yes or no?
no.
No, okay. He can't create me in His image if He doesn't exist. But the reason you're saying to think God exists is because He created me in His image.
Yes.
Okay. So I want a reason to think God exists, but you admitted that the reason, at least the claimed reason, the purported reason, has the conclusion in it. Okay, then that's not a reason. It assumes the conclusion.
Wait, you're confusing me here for a minute. The evidence.
Just think about it in Superman case. If I can't accept Superman saved you, if Superman doesn't already exist, Superman can't save you if he doesn't exist. If I ask for reasons to think Superman exists, and my friend says, because Superman saved me, the proposition Superman saved you is not a reason because it assumes Superman already exists. It's not possible Superman saves you if he doesn't exist. So you
But
already
that's
have
not
the
this.
conclusion in the statement.
That's
So it's
not the
not a reason
same.
to believe that
That's
it
not
is
the
the
same
same
because
because in both
because because
cases,
hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. As right now, if you step out from this live and you see something bad happen to someone, you don't even sometimes we don't even have control over that.
oh my God, Rancho, I'm gonna need your help again. I don't know. I might think you're beyond our midst, but I'll try and give you more attempts.
And the whole point is your explanation kind of presupposes the thing that you're trying to prove. Let's say I'm trying to convince you the tooth fairy exists, and
Okay.
then I'm like, okay, so I plan to convince you the tooth fairy exists is by telling you a story. And the story is when I was a kid, I put, my teeth under a pillow and then the tooth fairy took it away. Well, that's not a really good explanation in the sense that in your explanation, you already assume that the tooth fairy exists. But the very thing you're trying to prove is the tooth fairy exists, right? The same way, let's say I'm trying to prove you that like Harry Potter is real. I tell you a story about like, oh well, Harry Potter did this. That's not that's not really convincing anyone because the person you're talking to doesn't even believe the Tooth Fairy or Harry Potter or God, doesn't even believe that these things exist. So if that's your explanation, well, why would they accept that? Because they just don't think that that's a possible explanation. They don't even think that that's an explanation on the table.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and what you're saying makes sense. However, it's just when it comes to moral objectivity, it's we all know what it is, you know.
Also, I mean, this is kind of like maybe aesthetic or something, but you should kind of just stop using the language of objective morality because that's just not what that is. You could instead just say moral universalism or something. Because what objective morality picks out in moral philosophy is a very different concept than what you're talking about.
Oh,
So just for the sake of being precise.
I was I was more going for
But that aside, yeah, so we understand you're not providing a reason when you say God made it that way. Right? That obviously means God exists, and that's not a reason, right? If the reason contains the conclusion, and I don't accept the conclusion, then it's not a reason. Because reasons motivate you to the conclusion; they don't contain the conclusion in them. You're just saying the conclusion and more stuff as a reason.
well, I mean, this is the second time I've been here. I have to go shopping myself. I will be back.
Okay.
Because right now I can't think why we do this. It just makes it more difficult. Then I start going somewhere else, and I want to stay focused. I don't want to look stupid because I thought I had a great evidence, but apparently I don't. So I have to go shopping myself, and I'll be back. I know this is my second time here. I'll probably catch you again some days, but who knows?
Yeah, sure. No problem.
All right.
Peace out.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming up. Let's see who else. Yeah, yeah, no. I don't even know what to say. I'm bewildered. Oh, hold up. I brought up too much people. What's
Dude,
going
did
on?
you see Lance Bush was
Uh,
here for like 30 seconds?
oh yeah, actually, I think I did see that. I thought I was tweaking. Yeah, well, I'm mutuals with Lance, so
Oh,
Lance
holy.
actually, I'm pretty sure Lance has been on my live before.
Holy.
So, and I've been on his lives a couple times, but uh, he was actually supposed to do my intro a long time ago, but then he he was like his wife was giving birth or something. He said he wasn't able to. So I
And
might
he
ask
thought
him
that
again.
was
But
more important than a Monkey Boy intro.
I know that's
Terrible.
crazy. Yeah, I was about to block him for that reply, but what's going on, Jeff? Because Malpass, he said that he was like getting mugged when he did my intro. Like,
Wait, is that real?
that he was getting mugged.
Yeah.
I got Malpass. Malpass did my intro, but not.
Okay. Like, wait,
He's
that's
running,
crazy
and you hear
dedication.
the
You just hear
gunshots.
like, please, bro, don't take my money. But it's like Monkey Boy's YouTube channel
He's
stances
ducking.
allegedly.
He's ducking slugs. You hear them going off. Dang, all these people are not connecting. He's the last one in the queue. I ran through 4 people.
Hello?
What's going on, Vince?
Hello,
Yeah,
man.
who'd
How's
you
it
get?
going? I'm doing good. I'm
It's
doing
going.
good.
Go for
I
it.
would just like, I want to know what your like entire stance is because I heard some of the other conversation, but I kind of want like a
I
kind of
just
just
don't
like a
think a God
baseline.
exists.
Sorry.
Do you have? Yeah, I just don't think God exists. Do you have evidence or arguments God exists?
I have arguments. I wouldn't say I have evidence myself that's something that you could use as provable. It's provable for me, but like I said, like not everybody. And based on
Sure.
what you've been saying, you know, like okay, well, for one, I don't think you can compare God to Superman. Like you can't do that. Superman's a comic book character. The other one is a historical man. Jesus was a historical, real living man
You're missing the
way
point
back
there.
when.
Also, Jesus being a historical man and God are different.
Well,
I
not
mean, even
exactly,
you're
because Jesus
making
and
a
God
blunder
are
there.
one and the same.
Yeah, but that's a philosophical commitment, not a historical one.
Okay, fair. Okay, so historically,
Historically, Jesus is
well,
just a person.
right. But even if he was just a person, it's the fact that he existed and he's written
you're getting,
about in not just the Bible, but in other historical documents. Why
but you're just missing the
is his
point.
existence alone not enough evidence to prove that God exists? Because if Jesus was a real man, then everything that was written before him and everything that was written after him has to be true because it has that same reference point of Jesus.
Okay, so Jesus exists, and how do we get to God exists?
God exists because, I mean, to be frank, the world, the universe itself, like none of that comes from nowhere. Like I just want to, we don't have the mental capacity to genuinely wrap our head around
Okay, well, I
how
don't have reason
everything
to accept
came
that.
to be. Well, you don't have to accept it, but just because you don't accept something doesn't make it not true. That's like saying,
that's a matter of whether or
that guy
not.
killed somebody and I
Okay,
saw him kill
hold
somebody,
on.
but then you're like,
Okay,
but I
calm
didn't see him kill
down. Calm
anybody,
down.
so he must be innocent.
Okay, I'm gonna need to start meeting you. Just try and have some reservations, please. I'm saying that there's no reason provided for why I should believe that. I'd be irrational for believing what you just said, given my
Why would that?
available information. Because there's no rational reasons I have to believe that. So the point is not matter of believing
Do you believe in
just
love?
merely psychologically. Oh my god, can you just wait, please? Look, you haven't provided me any reason to think the universe couldn't come from nothing.
Well, I mean, because just I haven't provided you. Hold on, I'm trying to. I haven't provided you any reason the universe
Look, the
should
universe
what?
could just come from nothing. That's just logically possible. I think that's pretty obvious. I think people who think that's not
Is it
possible are
logic
just
though?
confusing what the sentence means.
You know,
I don't know what that means. Yes, it's logically possible the universe comes from nothing. Nothing is not, do not reify nothing. Do not treat nothing as an object that is that has causal powers, that is bringing about the universe. That is the misunderstanding people have. Nothing is a quantificational phrase, meaning nothing. When I say there's nothing, I just mean that there is nothing, or when I say there's nothing, I'm saying there is no element in the set that has, there's no element in the set. It's like an empty set. You can think of it that way. Imagine when I say the cow ate nothing in the bucket, right? Imagine there's a bucket full of vegetables. When I say the cow ate nothing in the bucket, I'm not saying he's eating some like mystical substance called nothing or
No, he
anything
just
like that.
didn't touch it.
I'm saying when you quantify over the objects in the bucket, the vegetables in the bucket, there is no vegetable in the bucket that satisfies being eaten by the cow, such that the cow ate no vegetable in the bucket. That's all that's being said. So yes, it is possible that the universe comes from nothing in the quantificational phrase. In fact, it's a very popular philosophical position.
Okay,
Not only not controversial that it's possible, it's by no means controversial it's possible. It's actually, or maybe, I don't know exactly the numbers, but it might be the dominant position.
right, but can I also ask, where do you think that chance of the universe coming out of nowhere came from? How do you think we got that chance?
I don't even know what you're asking. I have no clue.
Well, because there has to be a chance, right? Like, obviously the chances were on our side if the universe decided to just exist. So what if it didn't?
You're talking about. Dude, I'm saying I'm not understanding what you're saying. You gotta like break it down, because I don't think anything you're saying makes any sense. The chance came from?
Yeah, like chances. Like, what are the odds? What are the odds that the universe just came to be?
Well, odds aren't real. You understand? I don't take an objectivist view about probabilities. There is no objective probability. Probabilities are all epistemic.
Right,
Yeah,
but there is no probability.
What?
That's my point. There is no probability of the universe being created because it was planned. There wasn't just we just happened to get lucky with the universe. Like, no.
Okay. Did you hear me say stop here?
Okay. Well, okay, go ahead.
Did you hear me when I said it though?
Go ahead.
Did you hear when I said it? Did you hear me when I said it?
Look, man, I don't know why you're. Look, I'm trying. You can talk. Why? I don't know why you're being passive aggressive. You're being very passive aggressive, and I can.
Did you hear me? Look, I'm gonna just ask this once. Did you hear me when I said it? Yes or no? This is not a rhetorical question.
And then I stopped a second later because there's a.
Nope, you did not stop. So you didn't hear me because
there's a delay
at the very.
I'm just trying to say that there was a delay.
No, there's not a delay. Look, maybe you didn't hear me. When you hear me and you keep going, I'm telling you from now on, like I'm muting you now because you're not even answering the question. I'm gonna need to start muting you. I don't want that. You can just have some reservation and stop when I'm trying to address something. You don't need to keep rambling. I don't need to mute you. I don't want to mute you. You're forcing me to need to mute you for productivity. So just try and stop. Don't have me force you to do that. So where I'm at is I understand it just is possible the universe comes from nothing. Now your question's about whether it's there's some probability. Trivially, it's probable. There's some probability because probabilities are understood in terms of possibility. If something's possible, then its probability is greater than 0. So there is a probability. Given it's not only possible, but I think there are plausible reasons to think that. Obviously, there's a probability. The only way there wouldn't be a probability if it wasn't a possibility. It is a possibility, therefore there's a probability. And I actually think there aren't good reasons to think otherwise. Which is not saying that I think there are reasons to think that the universe just doesn't have a cause, right? But I'm not saying I'm promoting those reasons. But I don't think there's good reasons on the other side to think the universe does have a cause.
I would like to. I mean, I disagree with that statement. But not to be not in a mean way. That there's no good reason to believe that the universe has a creator.
What's one good reason?
For one,
the universe has a cause.
For one, the idea that the universe has a cause means that there's a purpose for everything. If we were created, then that means there's a reason.
No.
That is very implied. Because why then? Then why? Then what is the point of living?
Stop talking here. Causes do not imply teleology. Teleology is about purpose. There are people who deny there's even telos or teleology. and they endorse that there are causes. Causes do not imply anything about telos, so that's just not true. And then there's obviously examples of causes that don't involve telos, or at least neutral to telos at the very least. The sun causes me to get sunburns. The sun does not have a purpose like that. It doesn't have an intention or a purpose in that way by telos, right? There's views of non-intentional telos.
Hold on. Can I ask what a telos is?
Telos is purpose.
Oh.
Yep, it doesn't follow if something has a cause. It has a purpose, doesn't have a purpose. Purpose talk is completely neutral to causal talk. There's no implications about purpose from causes. So it doesn't follow anything you said about purpose. All I'm saying is that there could still be a purpose for what you're saying there isn't. All I'm saying is that there isn't reasons to think the universe has a cause. You haven't provided reason. You said that you do think there's reason. I asked you what those reasons are, and you haven't given.
Oh, I have given you reasons, man. I mean,
what is one reason to think the universe has a cause?
Well, like I said just now, I mean, for one, look, man,
for one, go ahead.
I don't know.
Just tell me the reason.
Telos.
You said you already gave it, so just repeat it.
Yeah, just
what is the reason to think the universe has a cause?
That there's a reason for us being here. Like, if we just came from nothing, then what would be the point of being here?
I do not grant you we have that sense of purpose.
Well, I don't really care what you grant me. I care what I'm granted from above, and that is life.
Dumb fuck. You gotta give an argument, dumb fuck.
All right, man. Don't do.
Shut up. Just give the argument. Do you have an argument? We have purpose.
Okay, I can give you an argument, but you don't have to be rude about it.
I don't care. You could cry all you want. Do you have that argument?
It's not about crying. It's about being respectful.
Shut the fuck up and stop crying. Give the argument.
I've been respectful towards you.
I do not want the meta. I don't want to hear the crying. Give the argument or leave.
Yeah, I am showing love to this man, but I'm calling him out.
I'm going to give you one more opportunity. You keep doing meta, not addressing. I'm just going to need to drop you. Just give the argument.
All right. What argument? Ask the question again.
Okay, dumbass. Just get out of here. I don't know. This live is way too bad. We've gotten actually the worst people I've had in ages. I'm actually about done with this live. We can't get a single person who can even have a conversation.
Yo, what's up? Okay, first off, I just want to say that you've probably seen me in the comments, but I completely understand what you're trying to say, like, and your question, and nobody's answering it with like.
Yeah, I don't really care about that. Just that's fine. Just what is your argument or evidence God exists?
Oh no! I'm not a believer, so yeah. But
so maybe
here? Fair point. You could just take me off the call. I just like debating religious people, honestly. So.
Okay. Now this guy's crying in the chat. Yeah. I don't know. You want to... He's requesting backup. You want to talk to Vince? Maybe you can have the last talk here.
Yeah, that was painful to listen to.
Yeah, I know. 100%. I mean, maybe it won't be painful when you talk with him, though. I don't know. You want to shoot your shot?
I'll pass, bro.
Okay. Yeah, with that, then I'm ending. We're got not a single good guess. In fact, all of them insufferable. I'm glad I'm ending this live, and I genuinely regret significantly going live today. I could have been on the game with a group of friends. So